So no issue. Yeah. So welcome to our a new class called Spring Cloud Config Server. So before knowing the Spring Cloud Config Server, see, we are doing a microservices, right? We are doing a microservices. So if we can call if it is a microservice as a microservice, what are the factors that service is giving? So in which factors the service is giving? So when we are calling a Spring Boot service is a Spring Boot service as a microservice. So it should be used cloud environment. Cloud environment in the sense it should be maintained some centralized code base or centralized properties, something like that. It should maintain. So there are some features are uh, given by some people. So that features are nothing but a 12-factor methodology in a Spring Boot microservices. So who are following these 12 factors? So more not completely 12 factors. So most of factors in the sense features. So most of the features, if the service is follow, then the service would be microservice. We can call it as a microservice. In a Spring Boot world, what are the factors? What are the methodologies we are following in our Spring Boot service? Then we can call it as a microservice. So that is what we will see now. So in that future, one of the feature is called a cloud config server. So why we need to config this cloud config server, and what is the importance of this, and we will see now. So we are using a Spring Boot application, and we are integrating the Spring Cloud components, and also we are using a GitHub. Why? Because we are taking the properties. We are taking the properties by configuring this server in a GitHub. So GitHub is also cloud, one of the cloud where we are having our all code here, code and all the properties files related. Anything we can configure, we can have here. So this is also cloud. So some cloud component is enabled in our Spring Boot application. So this we can call it as a microservice. And before jumping into this, we will check the what are the 12 factors. Are we really following those factors? So what are the these methodologies in a 12 factor manifesto? We will see now. So before after that, so we will see the Spring Cloud, one of the starting project, Spring Cloud config server, and how we are maintaining a profiles, Spring profiles. Spring profiles are nothing but a dev environment, prod environment, SIT environment, UAT environment. So what are the environments that are there as part of our day-to-day life, our day-to-day coding? We are going to configure these properties into one common place or one centralized place called a GitHub. So in a config server. So this config server we can maintain in a GitHub, or we can maintain in any cloud area, whether it is a Amazon cloud, whether it is a Google cloud, whether it is a Azure cloud, so whether it is a Spring cloud. So we can maintain anywhere. So that is what a cloud enabled config server. And those are in the server we are maintaining our environment profiles are nothing but a properties files. And and also a little bit variation. So application, what is the difference between application data properties, and what is the difference between application data properties versus bootstrap properties? So what is the purpose of we are going to use bootstrap properties as part of this cloud config server? So that is what we are going to see now. So let me share my screen. See here, microservice Spring Cloud config server. So before going to the here, so let me verify what are the 12 factors methodology in a Spring Boot microservice. So are we really following those factors or not? We will see now. So I'm opening. Okay, okay, this is already open here. See, 12 factors methodology in a Spring Boot microservice. This is provided by the Spring people. So overview. So we will understand how to develop a microservice. We will understand how to develop a microservice. See, till now we are developing microservice only, but we don't know we are following these many factors, these many features. So that is what we want to know now. So microservice with the help of Spring Boot. So with the help of Spring Boot, in this process we will see how to apply 12 factors methodology for our developing a such microservice. So so This is what we are going to see now. So what is the 12 factor methodology? Forget about this 12 factor methodology. The 12 factor methodology is a set of 12 best practices to develop an application, develop to turn as a microservice. So this is what this line is enough to us. So the 12 factor methodology is a set of 12 best practices, which means a 12 guidelines to develop applications developed run as a microservice, run as a service. This was originally developed by some people. So in a 2011. So that is what we are applying now to the our Spring Boot application. See, microservice with the Spring Boot. So let me check the all the 12 factors. So where we are giving microservice with the Spring Boot and applying 12 factors now. Okay, fine. So one is the this is here it is giving a simple microservice. So here it is a some restful URLs given. So get some movies title, get movies, post movies. So this is the rest rules. So they are following by applying these URLs. This is the REST component, repository, service, and database. So this is the structure. If you are following this structure, this comes under microservice. So that is what one of the future, one of the structure is, that is what here is mentioned. So this is a quite simple standard microservice with the data store REST endpoints. REST endpoints. So these are the REST endpoints. So we need to define a model which will map to persistence as well. See, so same we are using as a Java pose entity and ID as part of MongoDB. Whether it is a MongoDB, whether it is a SQL or NoSQL database, we are following like this only. Next, controller, we are following like this only. Get mapping, post mapping, the same we are giving, right? So next, code base. So here it is starting the all the factors. So before that, here is a given simple microservice. It should like this only. So now coming code base. So what is code base? Whatever we are developing a code, we need to maintain in a some. I don't want to read and all step by step. I can explain. So simply, what is code base? So whatever we are running a code, so that should be in a common place that can be accessible throughout the globe wherever we are developing the code. So that is what a code base. So for that in a 12 factors, this is the one feature. This is the first feature from the 12 factors. So we are maintaining our code in a GitHub, right? So all projects are we are maintaining in a GitHub. We are pushing the code in a GitHub so that you people are accessing wherever you are from the world, from the globe. You are able to access the code from the GitHub. So that is what here we are uh, all our code base are maintaining a GitHub. So many of the companies, not many of the companies, all the companies are following like this only. So our project is also following like this only. Fine. And GitHub and pushing and commit. Okay, 12 fact, fine. Dependencies. So whenever we are working with this kind of microservices, we need to 12 factor app should always explicitly declare a dependencies calls. So explicit dependency, there is not a implicit dependency, which means we are not giving any versions here. So it will automatically take the versions and independent dynamically at a runtime. So are we giving any versions here? No, right? So dynamically it will take the versions. There is no version complicated issues. So that is what a dependency is. So this is also we are following. If you see here, our see, let me open one of the our POM.xml XML. So here, yeah, are we giving any versions here? No, right? So our dependency management will take care of. Our POM.xml will take care of that. Our Spring Boot application will take care of that. So this is also one of the guide or one of the feature we are following as part of 12 factor methodology. So 12 factors out of 12 factors. Second one is also we are following configurations. So what are the configurations? A 12 factor app should be actionized all such configurations that vary between deployments. Exactly. So understand this line. A 12 factor app should actionalize all such configurations that vary between deployments. Simply. So you have a different environment, you have a dev environment, you have a SIT environment, you have a UAT environment, so different environments. So environment, you have a different servers, different hosting servers. So whenever you are configuring your profiles or your properties files, you need to configure with respect to environment. So those files are should be externalized, not a local. So if you are configuring properties in application data properties, that comes under see I'm telling versus that comes under local. So when you are externalizing the properties, in a Spring, you need to use Bootstrap properties, so that it will be enable your properties in a outside or centralized the properties, so that whenever you are doing a deployment in using Jenkins, so CI/CD, which means continuous integration, continuous deployment of your project, of your application, or of your service. So whenever you are starting deployment in your web service or microservice, it will we need to pipeline, we need to configure the all the environments at a time. So you can deploy your application in a different environments running by extending next. Like that, we can configure our deployment configuration also by using this Bootstrap properties. So that Bootstrap properties will give you a dynamic environments properties from the centralized place. So that is the reason we need to use Bootstrap properties. So that is what I mentioned here. This is the configuration related things. And also, this is what, and backing services. So what is this backing services? A 12-factor app should treat all such backing services attached to the resources. Exactly. So in this in this case, we are using the Spring JPA makes for this statement. Spring JPA makes the code quite agnostic to the actual database provider. So we only need to define a repository which provides all the standards properties. So all the standard operations. So which means see, whenever the 12 factors are easy offerings giving to you your application. So that is what the repository here it is doing. So instead of writing select query, instead of writing delete query, instead of writing update query, this repository will take care to give the all the basic operations to you. So you should use that repository, you should extend that repository in your employee or movie or person or your repository. So that is what we are doing here. So if you see here, our if you see here, where is the exception? Yeah, if you see here in our class repo, see in our class personal repository, our personal repository extends the Mongo repository. So in this Mongo class, if it is a normal class, it will be extended by the repository. Now JPA repository. If you see the project 4, this is also we did repository. This is also we did. This is also this is also MongoDB, right? JPA project 3 repository. So let me open. So this is the JPA repository. This is also we followed. So our employee repository extended by the JPA repository. Fine. So this is also we followed. And build, run, release. So this is nothing but our application. So whenever our develop is run, we are doing a this is what we need to use a separate build tool and strictly separate the process of converting the code base into a running applications. So we need to maintain the code base in different profiles. We need to have a different builds for each and every environment. So that is what we need to take care of this. So this is also one of the 12 factor. And process. So 12 factor app is extended run exception environment stateless process. So okay. Okay, this I'm not sure. We need to check where we are using this or not. Yeah, we have got a multiple endpoints exposure request of endpoints internally independent request the made before it. For instance, if you track of the user request memory, use that. Okay, okay. We need to maintain the some each and every request endpoints entirely independent. So we need to maintain the proper endpoints which should not depend on one endpoint to another endpoint. This is what application processing or application navigation is nothing but a process. Here it is mentioned. Okay, fine. Port binding. So port binding in the sense. So previously we are using to deploy a var file in a external servers. But here the Spring Boot application, our application is going to use a jar file. Our application is converted into a simple jar file. That jar file is we are able to deploying in our deploying in our Tomcat embedded server. So that server also, even though it is a jar file, we are able to communicate using HTTP protocols. So that is nothing but a port binding. It is coming under like that. So concurrency. So whenever we need to maintain some concurrency. Concurrency means whenever we are giving a multiple requests at a time. So it should not fail for all the requests. So we should maintain some concurrent thread related offers, thread related environment. So Java offers threads also. Thread as a class model handle the concurrency of our application. So whenever you need, you can use the this kind of thread safety of your application. So and also we have some different. This is the priority and logs. We need to maintain logs and process, and these are the some practice. So out of this we are following most of the factors. And also here it is a code base and configurations, right? Dependency configurations. So today we are talking with these configurations. So our project is following most of the factors, so that our application or our service, we can call it as a microservice. So that microservice. So I given this here I'm giving reference also. You people can refer later. So this is what a 12 factor methodology. So out of the 12 factors, we are following many of the features from the microservice, so that our service, we can call it as a microservice. Fine. So microservice in a Spring Cloud Config Server. Now we are coming into the one of the feature called Cloud Config Server, Spring Cloud Config Server. So now simply how we are going to configure our configurations in a central repository. And whenever you are running your application should not redeploy if the configuration is changed, right, dynamically. So you no need to redeploy or rerun your application. Just simply you can hit one more time that URL or endpoint, automatically update that messages or properties where you are configuring, where you are changing the key values from your central repository. So that is what this Spring Cloud Config Server. So microservice approach now has become an industry standard for a new API development. Exactly. So all the industries are now following microservices approach. So like by following Spring data, by following dependencies, but all Spring. That is the reason I'm already saying in our starting classes. Spring Boot is a by default a microservice enabled module. So whenever you are working, whenever you are creating an application with the Spring Boot, that is knowing or unknowingly you are following a microservices features. So if I say these things in a first class, you people may not understand. So that is the reason I didn't touch those factors in our first class. So we developed many applications using Spring Boot, like SQL databases using MySQL, NoSQL database using MongoDB, and we are using Spring Data, and we are, so that is the we followed many factors, right? So now we are now the time came up to know about microservice, right? So Spring Cloud provides an excellent tools built to microservice on top of Spring Boot framework. So Spring Boot framework, not a Spring framework, right? If you want to application, if you want to if you want to enable your application as a microservice, you need to use a Spring Boot, not a Spring. So here only we are using a version complicated and all that features are enabled by default Spring Boot framework only, not Spring framework. Fine. So in a microservice world, one of the feature called config server. So that is what we are going to see now. Fine. Config server. It is more like a externalizing property source file out of project code base to an external service altogether. See, we are maintaining a code external. We should maintain the properties also external. So that is what a config server. So that any change to given property does not necessitate the redeploy of a service. The redeploy of a service which is using the property, using that property, which is using that property. Fine. So whenever we are changing the properties in an external file, you no need to redeploy in your application. Automatically, it will be reflected. So that is what this externalization of properties. So all such property changes will be reflected without redeploying of your microservice. So to enable this feature, we are going to configure our application, our properties in an external, in a in a central place called externalization, right? So why to use Spring Cloud Config Server? So we already discussed what are the 12 factors and all. So the idea config server has came up from the 12 factors manifesto. So that is what we discussed, right? That is what we discussed here. So related to best practices guidelines of developing a modern cloud native application. So this is the one of the best factor. So this is the one of the best feature. The people are already defined some manifesto. Hey, if you are following some of the factors from this 12 factor manifesto, then your service is microservice. Then with your service, we can call it as a microservice. This is very, very important in a uh, in a interviews. How you are servicing, how you can say your service is microservice, your service as a microservice. Then you can strongly you can say, hey, I am using dependencies by providing the Spring Boot. We are not facing any complicated version complications. So this is automatically take the in a runtime. It is automatically download the all the respective versions. We no need to bother about the we no need to bother about the version complications. That is one factor. And we are using a code base central repository. We are pushing up my code in the Git repository so that each and every people from the throughout globe, they can access anywhere from the globe. So we are maintaining a centralized repository called a GitHub repository. Fine. Hey, I am using a Spring Data kind of repository kind of. We are using Spring Data so that it is offering some minimum predefined functions from the each and every repository. So that is what. And also we are maintaining our configuration files in a central config server. So this is also one of the factor comes under microservice. So these are all these factors I am using so that my service as a microservice. So we can call it that service as a microservice. Like that you should tell. So this is very, very important question in our interview mode. So I can start directly Spring Cloud Config Server. But before Spring Cloud Config Server, so what is Spring Cloud Config Server? Why we are going to Spring Cloud Config Server? So what is the purpose of this cloud config server? Why we need? What is the importance in terms of microservice? We should know. So that is the reason I started an introduction related to this one. So if I start in a Spring in our session one, you may not understand. You will be confused. So first of all, we need to know the entire architecture or entire behavior or entire internal how the Spring Boot working is. Now we know how the Spring Boot working and what are the configurations we can do using Spring Boot. We already know, we already did some practices using some standards. Now we can this is the time to know microservice patterns. So all the microservice simply there is no we are not doing any developing things here. Already we did all the applications. Knowing or unknowingly, we are developing microservice only. But we need to know the configurations. So how we are going to configure our properties, how we are externalizing our properties to the from our application to the cloud. That is what we are going to see now. Fine. So why to use a Spring Cloud config server? This is already done. It suggests to externalize the properties. It suggests to externalize the properties are resources files out of the server where the values those resources vary runtime during runtime. Usually different configuration that will be different in each environment. Fine, exactly. Dev properties will have a dev related host and dev properties, and in the dev environment we have a dev host server, which is a dev Tomcat server and a dev database, and UAT we have a UAT Tomcat server and UAT database. Why? Because we need to maintain the different databases, right? It is replica of the live database. So we need to test each and every environment our application is working perfectly. So that is the reason we have a different environments. So that is what here config server. So methodology also done. This is the notes how we are running our application. Fine. So you up to now, do you have any doubts on this? Friends, I'm asking you guys only.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So we are enough. We are having enough information about this microservice and this cloud config server. Now I am moving into our application. How we are going to do the server configurations? We will see now. Before that, so now I am having a Spring Cloud profiles config. So I given some properties here. See config server client. So one of our application client who are using these properties, we can call it as a client. So one of our application, one of our microservice is using these properties. This is the one property. This is the message and key. This is message and hello world. This is from config server. This is my client properties. Just simple one property I'm using in this one environment. So coming to back, and this is a production. This is the config server client production dot properties. So this is the one property file. This is the production related messages you can mention here. So hello world. This is the config server. A production environment. Hey, I updated something related. Yeah, fine. Let me change production environment. So fine. Okay. I didn't log in, right? So that is the reason it is not. Okay, fine. No issue. No issue. So and this is the uh, config server from the development properties environment. Here is a change property. So let me log in here. So otherwise it will not work. So it means we cannot update the properties while running the application. So let me let me log in this one. So we need to see while running the application, we need to change the property file. It should not. It should be changed without redeploying of our application. Fine. So let me log in this. Let me log in this. Fine. So okay. So now you can. Spring Cloud profiles. Fine. Now you can update easily. No issue. So this is the local one. This is the local one. Fine. And client production. Uh, okay. Just okay. Let me. Fine. Now we can remove. So this is the what is the this and config server and production. This is the production property. This is the production property. Fine. Now I am updating the changes. Fine. So and one more file is the development property file. So let me open this. So let me remove this. After that, after running our application, we will see. Fine. So this is the cloud config server profiles. By knowing this, I'm naming it as a profile config, profiles config. Profiles in the sense the production environment as well as the also development environment. This is the one client properties. Fine. So now I am opening our projects. So our opening our projects. See, I created a two services. two services. One is the ninth project is the our service. One is the cloud config server. So let me open this cloud config server pom.xml first. Let me close all the classes. So here, if you see here, one is the dependency. We need to use the cloud enabled starter, cloud enabled config server. So we are using the one dependency here. So and also actuator. So actuator is the for health checkup and all. We need to use the actuator. So this is one only. This is one we are using this for this, and nothing is there. This is automatically it will come whenever we are using this dependency while creating a project. Automatically it will come dependency management to manage this cloud related version here. Cloud related version. Fine. So now if you see the main class, or config server main class, so nothing is there. See, nothing is there. Only our main class is there. Enable config server. Enable config server is the one annotation we need to give to enable our to access our externalized properties. So I already told you. So whenever you are externalizing the things, you need to use the bootstrap properties instead of application data properties. Let me see. Let me check what are the properties files we are using. So application data properties by default it is coming whenever you are creating an application. So we are not using any properties here. So bootstrap properties we are using. The port, the server port is the 888. So by default, config server will take in a Spring Cloud. The port number is the 888. So we need to use this port number when we are working with the Spring configuration server. And also Spring Cloud config server git URI. So we need to load the properties, right? Profiles in this config server. So that is the reason I'm giving the entire link of my GitHub. So entire link of a central place. So it is loading the properties here. Fine. So and verify the repository issue service startup. So some statement we need to enable do the true cloud clone on start something git related command. I am giving this. Fine. So managing security enabled false. Okay. I'm giving we are not following any security, right? So this is I disabled as a false. So forget about these two things. But the main one is the this one. So this configuration server simply it is enabling a Spring Cloud config, and we are enabling and we are using directly property from the external property. Fine. So where we need to use these messages and all properties we need to check, right? So for that I written some client server. So config client. This is our main microservice where we are loading all the properties from this service. This service is loading from the external repository. Fine. So here, so here in pom.xml, you can see the pom.xml, same cloud config we need, and for the controller we need a web starter. Fine. So let me open this application. So component scan and all. So here we are not using any annotations here. Why? Because already we are consuming this service inside this. So controller. So at the rate refresh scope. So whenever we are using taking the message from the external service, the scope will be refreshed. So that is the reason we are using a refresh scope. And message, the property key. The property key here we are giving. What is the property key here? Message, right? So we need to give the property key. This is the message is the property key. So that is what I am giving here. So get mapping. So from the get mapping, just I'm giving some statement here by checking whether my control is coming here or not. So message profile, what is the message profile? What this message value will be getting here. So that is what we are writing here. Whether we are able to test our microservice, whether we are able to configure our config server or not, we are checking simply. So coming to this class bootstrap. So here, so I'm giving a development by default. I'm giving a development profile by default I activated, and we need to give the local host 8080. Why? Because we need to load this server. The server is property is the server property is 8080. So sorry, 8888. So that is what we are loading here in this client application. Spring Cloud config URI. So my config server related configurations are here. I'm loading. So and also application name. Application name. What are we are using application name? Cloud config client. So there is config server client. So this is what I'm giving config server client. So config server client. So cloud config client I am giving. So let me check how it is open. So fine. So config server client, right? So this we will check when we are running application. How are we given? Why we are giving this name? We will check now. So first of all, you need to run a config server so that it will load our configuration properties. Fine. So let me run this. Let me run this. So let me run this. See, the application is started. The application is started in a port number. Now you can run the client. Now you can run the client. So Spring Boot application. So yeah. So whatever we are returning a message by default, development environment profiles is taking from the GitHub. Development environment properties is taking. So let me check in which URI I need to call and which URI I need to call. So right to test endpoint. To test endpoint, we can take the message. Development environment we are able to get. Why? Because here we are not giving any port number, right? Here we are not giving any port number. So by default, it is taking a development environment. Fine. So if I test my environment, how can we? Yeah, application name I given, right? Config server client and development. So let me open this endpoint. So 8080 we are checking a configuration server. So see, so this is the development environment. Here it is the development. By default, we are giving a development environment so that it is loading the development related one. This is the client normal client properties. This is the development properties. Let me change the properties so that I don't want to run again this application. Whenever I am changing a development properties or client properties, it should change automatically. It should change without redeploying of a service. So let me change. So this is the client production properties, right? We need to change the development properties. So client properties is also there. Let me take the development properties. Sorry. This is the production. This is the production development properties. Just I'm taking the development properties. So here I'm using. Hey, I am updating or changing dev properties. So this is what I changed and I am committing this file. So development properties, I changed this one. This is what. So where it is. So here simply development properties coming, right? So let me refresh this one. So it should come the see. Hey, I am updating the see whatever we are updating. So whatever we are updating, those things are coming or not. So without redeploying of our application, right? So this is called an external configuration. If you are configuring inside your local application properties, there will be you need to redeploy. Otherwise, the application will not the values will not be reflected. So if you want to reflect an environment related properties, this may be a database link, this may be a server link. Why? Because your application is running using some database. So our application database is collapsed, or the database is updated in some other database. So for example, your database changed, so that your database URLs will be changed, right? So that time, without affecting any production redeploying the production, without affecting your business, you need to
One
make.
question.
Yeah.
Does the configuration file has to be deployed on GitHub? Or it can be deployed on whatever URL?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Good question. So in our training, what are the accessibility of cloud access? So we are not using any AWS cloud. We are not using any Spring cloud. We are not using any Azure cloud. So we need to take that from some open source cloud. So that is called a GitHub. GitHub also cloud, right? So this is a cloud area. We can use that space so that Spring Cloud will accept any cloud areas. So you can configure any cloud areas. So basically, the configuration property files. Basically, the configuration property files recommended to configure in our GitHub only. Why? Because so your monitoring is day-to-day monitoring is happens, right? So your architect, you and your colleagues, they can see easily updating files whenever they want to run. Whenever they want to develop an application, they need to access. They need to at least read access to read the properties to connect that application from their local. So that is the reason the recommended way of maintaining properties first is option is GitHub.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. So let me change production URL now.
I have
So
a
this is
question
the development.
also.
Yeah. You can.
Is there a way to encrypt the properties?
Definitely. That is comes under security level. So whenever your organization wants to instead of showing direct values, we can use some security keywords by encrypting the values. So whenever you want to some internally you have as maintain a decrypted related stuff also. So whenever
so we
using,
will have to decrypt it.
otherwise it will not connect, right? So for example, my database is connecting this URL. So if it is encrypted, you cannot connect. Why? Because it will embedded with some special characters. So that is what encrypted format, right? So you can use that directly. It will not take. So you need to decrypt that values by using one of your decrypted stuff. So that you can easily connect your database instead of giving direct values here. But the default behavior of config server, we are understanding now. That is by providing security, that is up to your organization, that is up to your security concerns taken care by your architect and your manager, your product owner. Got it?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine. But we should know how we are configuring the configure server as part of our microservice. So that is what we should know. So let me check the production environment. So production environment fine. I think production may not change. Yeah, production environment. So let me change here. So config. I think production will change or not. We need to check. Why? Because we are loading the development property only, right? Let me check. Production profile change. Let me commit this one. Let me rerun this reload. Yeah, this is also changed. Hey, this is a production profile change. So like this, we can change, we can update our configurations, not only the message, we can update all our configurations related to database or related to our profiles, related to Docker related configurations and the external dev server related configurations and all our configurations, our messages related configurations, all we can maintain in all our security data related configurations. All our we can maintain in terms of profiles with respect to environment, with respect to whether it is a production, whether it is a pre-production, whether it is a asset environment, whether it is a UAT environment. Why we have these many environments? Before deploying the application in a production, we should ensure all the application, all features of our application is working fine, so that we have a different environment to test different people, QA people, test people, all are right. So their responsibility is to check our application is working or not in perfectly, and also environment to environment. So that is the reason we should maintain some environments, at least more than 2 or 3 environments before production environment, right? Yeah. So this is what a cloud config server. And next we are going to see one more feature, cloud feature called naming our service registration and service discovery. So how we are going to do our services discovery and services registering. Actually, why we need service registry and service discovery, we will see our next session. Okay.
Okay.
Someone has message. Let me check. Okay. Okay, no issue. Fine. So thanks, friends, and we will meet in next session. Okay. And who are not subscribing this my YouTube channel, you people can subscribe the YouTube channel so that instead of taking from cloud this video, I will directly upload to my YouTube channel so that you can able to see any number of times. Okay.
Yep.
So let me give my YouTube channel link. So some of the people may don't have. So http colon youtube.com/vkyakarla. So this is what sorry, I'm giving wrong URL. TUB spelling mistake. It should load. So let me open this.
I think
Okay, fine. Yeah,
will be
it is opening. Yeah, it is opening. So you people will be it is useful to refresh all the sessions here, so that this also I will upload in a few hours. I will upload this video also. You can enjoy. So thanks, friends. We will meet next session. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thanks, Veer.
Yeah. Thank you.